Thank you for having me here this evening. I represent Greenway, which is quite a diverse electorate. We have some schools in areas of quite distressed socioeconomic circumstances and some other areas in new growth centres, which are actually probably the opposite. And I know for all of us here, that's probably the story of Western Sydney. There are some schools that are doing okay and others that are not. And we know the whole point of Gonski was that we didn't have that sort of disparity, that needs-based funding actually meant something. And as I was sitting here this evening, I was actually thinking, you know, it's almost 4 years to the day that I was sitting here at this podium before the 2013 election, and there were no coalition MPs present at that either who would debate these issues. But not only that, we found out, I think, Ed, probably a day or two later, that apparently we were on a unity ticket when it came to Gonski. And we know now what a lie that was. I've got in my, on the window of my electorate office in Seven Hills, I've had one poster there for the last 4 years, and that's my green I Give a Gonski poster. And when Gonski 2.0 was announced, as our previous speaker said, I wondered, you know, does that mean that, I wasn't sure, did that mean I still support Gonski or not? Well, I think that for all Malcolm Turnbull's bleating that this is a plan that has been allegedly endorsed by David Gonski, that it repairs what he calls the bastardisation of a funding model, I believe in the real Gonski. And I don't think we should be ashamed to use that name. Because we know what it really stands for, and it stands for real needs-based funding. It stands for a real bridging of any divide that you might have between different demographics within, in our case, our electorates. The other thing I wanted to point out was, for all the arguments that the government is putting out now that these aren't funding cuts, as Chris Bowen will tell you, it is in black and white in their own budget papers that this is a $22 billion save. It's there in black and white. And the last thing I'll say, because I know there's some other speakers, the last thing I will say is many speakers have come up here tonight saying this is the most important issue. Again, I want to assure you that in federal Labor, this is our most important issue too, which is why the majority of questions that you would see that are coming out in question time since the budget have been on this very issue. We will continue to prosecute it. This is in the hands of the Senate now, but we will continue to prosecute that. We're a united team, and we will do everything that we can with the crossbench to make sure that we defeat what is a very inequitable funding proposal being put forward by the Turnbull government. Thank you again for having me.